Greetings and salutations, as Arch likes to say. We're live, and today we're going to be talking about women. I've noticed it's a very interesting topic, and it's also something that a subscriber asked me to discuss. Gave me a video with the wisdom of Nick Fuentes. Like, what do you think about women? And I'm like, I mean, it's interesting, seeing someone that's not married and doesn't have a girlfriend, and as far as we know, never did, lecturing men about women. I mean, he must have studied a lot. He must have read a lot of books on the subject. And so I haven't watched the video because I want to watch it with you guys. I'm going to do a watch together. See if Mr. Fuentes is correct or not about women. And also about masculinity. Oh. Dios mío. I remember when there was the trend that you had feminists in their bedroom talking about relationship and shit, and saying how a man needs to be weak and how a man needs to be submissive. And now there's like a lot of videos that are from men talking about how women should be. And this is one of them. So let me just put it on the screen here. Why doesn't it want to be placed on the screen? Oi! Display capture doesn't work? Why is OBS humiliating me right now? OBS, what are you doing? For some reason, it just doesn't want to work. And it worked yesterday, and I didn't touch it, I swear. Alright, now I know why it's... Okay, here we go. Jesus fucking Christ. Let's watch the video.
So fucking mind raped by women. It's not even funny. Men need to start like doing what they feel and being who they are.
Oh my god, I'm already cringing. Never do this, by the way. Okay, like this is the toxic advice that women give to other women. You just need to be yourself, girl. You just need to constantly do what you want, just be yourself. I really despise this advice because it never works on a group of people. Like, unless you know the person, don't give this advice. What if the guy is a creep? What if he, like, genuinely likes oogling at titties and has drool coming in, and then you have, like, Nick Fuentes, oh, yeah, you need to do what you feel, man. You need to be yourself. Don't give this advice to a group of people over the internet. This is only something that you give if you actually know the person. And so, like, if you know that it's a confident person and they don't enjoy being meek and they're being gaslit by feminists, then yeah, you can tell that person, just be yourself. But if you're going to notice someone that's like a pushover, a weak person, a pervert, and you're just telling them, yeah, just when you go to women, just be yourself, man. Be yourself. Stop self-snitching. Stop self-snitching. Listen, it doesn't matter who I am. Like, remove me from the conversation here. It's just like, look at what is being given as an advice. Like, if I come to you and I need advice about women, the last thing I want to do is just be yourself.
And stop with this, like, over-socialized, feminized programming that we've gotten from women, where we're being told, like, I was talking to that guy, Tommy G, who was over here. He said, my wife is like a mythical creature. Tucker said, my wife is so mysterious. What? It's insane. Real.
Yeah, but like, look, that is like one thing of shits that's appropriate to say just to make conversation, and it's another thing like what people genuinely believe. Like, there are these platitudes that, they differ from culture to culture, and people just say them. Like, when you talk about the weather, or you say, oh, yes, like, my wife is mysterious. Like, she's not mysterious. But you just say that in order to make some conversation and move the topic along. I don't think, like, Tucker Carlson genuinely believes that his wife is a mystery.
Masculinity is breastfeeding your newborn. Like, okay.
Yeah, Okay, no, I understand that culture is pushing that, but if you actually look at the polls, like how many people genuinely believe that men should breastfeed and how many people actually believe in chest feeding, it's less than 5%. And so if you think that this is a problem for society, you're terminally online. Because outside of the online space where you get to see that shit from the media and from ads, in the real world, most people think it's retarded. Like, no, but most people do not think that being a father is about chest feeding and giving milk to your baby. Which, although, I'll tell you this. Like, okay, fine, let's put it in another way. When you actually have a child, which I'm pretty sure that Nick Fuentes didn't, you'll notice that the wife is spending an extreme amount of time constantly waking up during the middle of the night. And this is when, like, the kid is under 1 year old, right? So, like, he's going to wake up your wife probably like 4 or 5 times. She's not getting any sleep. She starts making mistakes during the day. She's angry. She's agitated. And so if you as the father can help with whatever way, like let's say in the case of my kid, he took the bottle. So he was fine with the bottle. But let's say the bottle doesn't work and you have to chest feed. You know what? In the sanctity of my own house, I don't give a fuck. Like, my wife is more important. My kid is important. If I see that my wife is doing everything that she needs to do, but because she's waking up in the middle of the night so often, it actually affects her health and affects her well-being, and I can help with that, because, like, I'm a YouTuber and I'm awake during the night anyway, yeah, fuck it, I'll chest feed. I don't give a shit what society has to say. And that's the actual manly thing to do, Like, if you know yourself that something is right and correct and you have the moral framework to decide, yeah, you should chest feed, by all means. Now, if the wife is the opposite, like she never takes care of the baby and she never is interested, then you shouldn't chest feed. Then you should plan for a divorce. But again, it is what it is.
You have gone insane. It's like, it's enough it makes you want to convert to Islam, and I don't. But like, Muslims are straight up right about women. This is why the West is fucking dying. The West is dying because we are simps. We are being bossed around and controlled by women, even when we're not. Even when we're not, psychologically we are. And that makes us a ridiculous society.
I think it's kind of weird that, like, you need Islam in order to feel in control of your life as a man. I mean, we're social creatures. We constantly negotiate things. I don't want a slave. I want a partner in life. I want someone that can also bring money to the household. I want a partner when I raise my kid. I don't need a dog. I don't need a puppy. I don't need a culture that's basically like, no, like, she needs to know her place. Like, no, it's fine. And by the way, like, this culture where, oh, Islam is so great and everyone imagines themselves as the sheik. A lot of men in Islam never get to have a woman. And they don't get to have a woman because the Chad hoards all the women. Now, at least in a Western society, the Chad doesn't marry with the women and doesn't lock them in. So, like, theoretically, eventually, you may get a woman. If you're in a Muslim country and you're born poor or you're not, like, top of the ladder, you may not even see a woman in your life. You don't even see them because they wear burqas and shit. And so, I just say, like, okay, careful what you wish for. Because the thing is, like, if you're a Chad in our society, you probably get women. And if you're a Chad in Islam, you get women. But if you're not a Chad, you don't get women here. I mean, well, here you still have a chance. While in Islam, you'd probably have no chance.
It is a ridiculous society that we are listening to these overgrown children being bossed around, constantly having to explain ourselves.
The thing is, though, like, we don't really listen to women, Like, this is one of the sleight of hands that people believe. It's like, oh, here in the West, we listen to women. You listen to the terms of service of social media, because if social media says, like, misogyny is off the table, then no one is misogynistic, and those who are get banned. People listen to the HR at corporations, which, okay, fine, like, it happens to be a woman, but, like, at the end of the day, she is parroting company policy. And if you don't do what she says, then you get fired. So, in reality, you're listening to corporations. That's what you're doing, right? Like, you're listening to social media, which is corporations. You're listening to your business, which is a corporation. And it's not like women have a say. Because, like, when you look at Gina Carano, like, Gina Carano tried to have a say. She immediately got fired. So, like, women are just parroting the corporate talking points. And, you know, like, men are internalizing that, but I don't like really think that most men, especially in the West, are as dominated by women as the internet likes us to think. V, have you seen Ryan Long's video when a woke and a racist actually agree on everything? That's Nick and Destiny. I actually did see that, yes. Where do those policies come from? From the academia. But it's usually the way policies work. If you read the manufacturing consent, it doesn't come bottom up. Like, let's say the government right now wants internet surveillance, right? Like, the government wants to remove internet anonymity. They want all the private messages from people to be harvested and then given to the government. And they want you to use digital ID. Though, you need to start understanding that the horse is in front of the cart, right? So, like, the desire of the government to have digital ID is the reason. And then they use academia. It's like, find the justification for this. And then they come with something very emotionally charged, which is, oh, we need to protect women. Oh, we need to protect children. Like, something very charged, right? They don't say, we need to spy on people. They say, we need to protect women. And terms of service need to apply. And all of a sudden, you know, you have age verification laws and shit like that. Like, for instance, you have the actual movement against Wall Street back in the day. And the government is worried because, like, the left and the right are now protesting against Wall Street. And so what do? They say, like, okay, we need to divide these people. Because otherwise, they can actually pose a threat to our institutions. And so they go to the academia and it's like, find an ideology that divides them. And that's when identity politics get created, right? If you try to think about it the other way, it's like, oh, you know, like, people created identity politics and it just happened to be pushed on society. No, that's not how it works. Like, the government has clear goals. They want to accomplish things. And then they get with whatever is emotionally charged in that time. So, like, if it wasn't for feminism, they would come up with something else. They would come up with race, or they can come up with ethnicity, or they can come up with age. One of their favorite, like, before all of the identity politics and the race, we had the Europe based on class. Right? Like the bourgeoisie versus the have-not. The government will just come up with the shit in order to justify why it's going to do what it wants to do. Even the Ariwa bot checks are probably a new angle for ID verification. No. The Ariwa bot checks, I actually know what those are. So let me see if I can bring one up. See, I'm actually informed on this. You thought that you will catch me by surprise, but you haven't. So, have you guys seen these? Let me see if I can show it. All right. So, wait, why the fuck is the CAPTCHA not coming up? Ah, here we go. Ace. Struggling with technology today, chat. Right, have you seen these things, right? Where it's like, select the two cats, select the parking lot, select the car. Like, they're pretty common. Do you know what they're actually used for? Training AI. Especially training AI for cars. And, you know, when you go to ChatGPT or the other places and you show a picture and the bot knows, that's how the training was done. I don't exactly understand the technical know-how, but, like, obviously the AI doesn't have eyes. Like, it doesn't experience the world the same way we do. And so, like, they create bots that train bots that train bots. And then it has to verify, like, if the bot knows. So, like, behind the test, there's a bot that is not necessarily given the answers. And it looks at how humans respond, how humans react. And this is training data for AI, basically. Like, if... And it's been going on for a while, right? Because, like, remember, they used to have, like, different CAPTCHAs, different ways of doing it. But, like, after a while, like, all of the Are You a Human thing were literally like this, right? For a while, it was with numbers. or it had like, can you pick two things on the screen, blah, blah, blah. And after that, every single test became literally like this. And the reason is because you are trading the image recognition for AI. So, no, it's not what you initially thought. It's not about digital ID. It's simply about making more money by trading data for the thing. If I get this wrong, is it why Waymo is doing circles in the parking lot? No. No, like, the machine is already trained on the data. So, like, for instance, Elon Musk would probably go to one of these companies and they would pay the money so that they give them the data that they harvested so that he can use it on his cars. That's how it works, right? They could say, prove you're a human, give digital ID. Oh no, they're going to say, prove you're over the age of 16, give digital ID. Like, this is literally what they're doing in Australia. And it's going to be applied to the entire internet, not just porn. Like, porn was just so that they can prime the public. Because the idea is, if you make people think that the internet is this wild west of predators and misinformation and hate speech, then people now want safety. And so if the government says, all right, we'll make sure that we'll force the companies to keep you safe, then people are now having conversations about, okay, well, we need to keep children safe. How can we do it? And then they come with the, common sense solutions. Oh, well, if you show an ID to a bar, you need to show an ID when you go on Google. It is what it is. Like, if people don't value privacy, what can I say? Until we're going to have a scandal, things are going to remain the same.
To them, appeal to them, deal with their emotions like it's anything other than sentiment. This is why we're a fucking joke of a country. You think that flies in China? You think that flies in Saudi Arabia? You think that flies in Russia?
Well, I mean, actually, it does. I mean, I'm in Eastern Europe, right? I'm not an American. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising, but, like, people do listen to women, but it's not the one thing. It's not like men listen to women or women listen to men. It depends on the context. It depends on the conversation. There are situations where men listen to women, and there are situations where women listen to men. It's called living in a society. Like, I don't know how Americans do it. I don't know how, like, it's being done in Islam. But I know that, and by the way, like, even in Islam, if you, like you have very strict gender roles, that's true. But, like, if you as a man, you fail to provide for your family, or you're not doing well at work, or anything like that, holy shit, like, the woman can actually go to the imam and rat on you. I don't think, like, Nick Fuentes actually has people that live in Middle Eastern countries, or knows how it's like in Islam. But it's not this cartoonish one-sided version. Like, women have a lot of power in Islam. Like, the police of vice and virtue, for instance, a lot of them are women. And they're actually more strict enforcers and more harsh than women in the West. And you can have, like, your neighbor, right? Like, your neighbor can be a married man, and his wife can literally tear into you. So, no, like, in most societies, women are usually the cultural enforcers, but the idea, like, should you listen to a woman? It's like, well, it depends. What is the conversation about? And what relationship does the woman have with you? Like, is she family? Is she a stranger? Is she your boss?
It doesn't. And over here we say, those men are sexist pigs. It's like, no, they're men. We are a joke. The women don't even respect it. The women don't even respect it, That's the best part. So, yeah, I mean, I just can't stand. I can't take another one of those lectures from the wife guys, the simps.
Again, like, he talks about the wife guys, the simps, but, like, where's his wife? This is something that I noticed with a lot of content creators on the internet, and especially on X, They like to talk a lot. They're really good at talking, and they will talk and talk and talk and tell you how things should be. But if you try to lead your life by looking at their actions, by copying them, are you going to obtain success? Like, at least with Andrew Tate, yeah, you probably can. I mean, the guy actually works out. He hits the gym, and he does actually have a lot of women, because he's a womanizer. So, like, I suppose if you want women, you can be like Andrew Tate. Like, if you copy what Andrew Tate does, you will get women. Right? Like, if you actually work out, you go to the MMA, and you manage to win the MMA, yeah, you'll get women. Like, if you do what Andrew Tate does. If you do what Nick Fuentes does, is it going to give you women? So like, this is what I don't understand. People criticize me if I criticize him, but like, I have a wife and he doesn't. I have a child and he doesn't. And for some reason, because I don't say the correct talking points, people hate me. And it's like, but don't you think I have a little bit more experience when it comes to this? Like you would rather listen to a guy that, in more than 10 years, never showed himself with a girlfriend. Ever. And it's like, look, when you're a content creator, even DSP, right? Like, he's getting fame, and even DSP is going to get girlfriends. I mean, DSP, I think he had like 2 wives and some girlfriends. And my point is, like, when you're someone as big as DSP, women contact you. And there were probably a lot of women that contacted Nick Fuentes. And he couldn't find like a single one. Like, what are his standards that are so high that not even a single woman? I mean, if we're going to reverse the gender roles, isn't this like, I don't know, like someone like Pokimane or Alinity or whatever that's like, oh no, like I'm too good for these men. And it's like, okay, you're too good for 1 man, you're too good for 10, for 100, but like at some point, questions start coming. And it's the same thing here. I got a lot of shit for not agreeing with his wisdom. But like, unlike him, I'm married. I love you because you don't say the correct talking points. Well, yeah, I mean, it's so easy to say the correct talking points. Yeah, all women are bad and men should be assholes. Well, not necessarily assholes, but like men should do whatever they want to do. You know, like the most banal things. Islam is great. Islam is right about women. I mean, we can have the misogyny hour over here. Like, that's fine. I can get the amalgamite and spoons, and we can be misogynistic. But I don't think, like, this is genuine advice. I don't think, like, anyone would leave the conversation learning more about how to be good with women if I just come in and say the things that need to be said, you know, in order to get some super chats. He doesn't have higher standards for women. He just finds them annoying. Oh, so he's gay. Like, that's another possibility. Because, like, when you're straight and you interact with a woman, like, you're supposed to get dopamine. Like, every single straight man has, like, a little bit of simpishness to him. Like, it's natural. It's normal. And so, like, when you're in the presence of a woman that's beautiful, your brain is supposed to shut down a little bit. Not entirely, right? But enough so you don't find them annoying. This is, like, pure biology. Like, this is nature. And so you're telling me he finds women annoying, but he's going to stream with Destiny, and he doesn't find Destiny annoying. What am I supposed to make with that? Like, I possibly would not be able to sit in a room with Destiny calm. Like, not even I have this mental training, but yeah, I can probably stay in a room with Pokimane calm. Because again, you know, like, it's just like inbuilt, like it's part of your masculine hardware. If you're straight, when you're in the room with a lady that smells nice and she has big titties, like, your dopamine level rises and your brain shuts down enough to the point where you don't find that annoying. I mean, my fucking God, if this is the criteria, it's like, oh, I want a woman that I don't find annoying. I mean, good luck with that. Have you been on a date? Boogie and Destiny have more girlfriends than Fuentes. Dude, everyone has more girlfriends than Fuentes. The man is single as far as I know. He never associated with himself with any woman. At this point, he could just, you know, at least try to go to a monastery and become a monk. And then he would have an excuse. Or become a Catholic priest. Or something like that. You know, at least it would look like he has a vow of celibacy. But if he's going to be like a boy in waiting for the rest of his years, Destiny somehow got more conservative women than Nick. Also, base Chinese birth rates are smaller than Japanese rates. Again, my theory is that welfare and technology causes loss of birth rates. But if people say, oh, it's about women, I'm starting to notice that even some Muslim nations are having declining in birth rates. Like maybe it's not sustainable. Like we have had historically high birth rates from the entire period of human history. And like maybe, it's not sustainable. And it's not a species extinctual event. Like, people have lived through the bubonic plague. People have lived through worse. Like, in the bubonic plague, they had a wave that was called the children's plague. It was a strain that only targeted kids. And people lived through World War I and World War II, right? The Indians in America, they went from a population, I think it was like 200,000 or something like that, to over 9 million that there are today. And so, it's not an extinction event. But it is like an extinction event from the welfare perspective. Like, if you're big on economy and welfare and stuff like that, yeah, you would be worried. Not enough people to pay into the grift. If you mimic Nick, you will not get women, you will get men instead. I mean, mimicking Nick is pretty difficult, I would say. Because, like, what would mimicking him mean? Well, it would mean like being a content creator and constantly talking about shit that would get you banned. And I have to say, like, not many people can do it. He managed to pull it off. But if you actually do that, so you're home all the time, you're talking about politics all the time, you could get women only if you lower your standards to that of a straight man. So you don't have, like, standards that a homosexual would have. And I'm not going to go with women because they're annoying. I mean, okay, well, do they have cooties? Sup, bro, I got busy with some calls. I'll watch the stream later. There's a little something to add to the tip jar. Enjoy the stream. You should actually try see if Nick finds you attractive and tell us, I'm actually curious. I don't think Destiny sucked him, though. I genuinely don't think. I think it's a meme. I saw the video, but there's like not enough evidence. The only reason that people assume this because like the video came out in the same time span when they two met, right? So when they visited. But there was like literally no other evidence, like nothing else. And so videos can be recorded, they can be uploaded later. I don't think it was him.
And they're just good little boys, stuff them in their fucking pocket. Their wife practically carries them around in their purse. And they unzip their purse and, a Protestant with a baseball cap and a stupid fucking beard pops out and says, "Real masculinity is when I do whatever my wife says." And she goes, "Good boy, good boy."
Again, like, this is a caricature from a TV show. Like, I know so many married couples. None of them behave like this. I suppose, like, the only thing that you can say is that women are incredibly hyper-aware of social status. Like, they really don't want to get embarrassed in public, right? And so, the person that maintains your family prestige is usually your woman. As a man, I'm more autistic. Like, I'm focused on my work. I'm constantly worried about making enough money so I can pay the bills. I'm worried about, having money set aside so that if my son gets sick, we take him to the doctor. So that's my focus in life. And so my wife's focus is making sure that our family looks good when we go out. Like, when we're with the neighbors, when we're with this and this and that. Like, she's the one that gets the prestige going. And so you really don't want to embarrass her in public. You really don't want to make her look bad. Like, this is my advice. If you're actually married, never make your wife look bad in public. And so when people say, yeah, like, my wife is this and my wife is that, and you're acting a little bit submissive in public, sure. But when you're in the household, the conversations are completely different. And I know this because I talk with other people. And then, like, I know other married couples. Like, no, this what Nick is describing is insanely superficial, and it's almost comical in nature. Does this mean, like, there aren't men that are submissive? Like, maybe there are. But if I was to look at all the married couples that I know, very few are like the way Nick is describing. Maybe in America it's different. It's not necessarily like being a sub in public. But like, let's say I'm at a dinner with someone else, and I say that, yeah, I think I'm going to get a furniture that's the color red. And my wife goes like, no, we're going to get something that's blue. I'll go, okay, sure, it's going to be blue. That doesn't necessarily mean that when we get home, like, I'm not going to restart the conversation. And we're not going to say, all right, who's paying for it? Are you paying for it? Hey, if you're paying for it, then it's red. But if you're not paying for it, it's blue. Right? Like, that's normal in a couple. But I'm not going to start criticizing or argue with her at the table. Like, when I'm out and I'm with someone and we're in public, yeah, sure, I let her have the last word. Like, I'm not that childish to start arguing over little every single detail or have like a spat that doesn't belong to be had in public. Does that make any sense? Yeah, exactly. You pick your battles, you give and take. Like, you never argue in public. So, like, I suppose, like, from the outside, like, if you don't know what's happening in the house, yeah, from the outside, it looks like I'm submissive. It looks like I'm sitting at a table and the wife says, like, the furniture is going to be blue. And I'm like, oh, well, sure, darling. It's going to be blue. Absolutely. And then she says, like, for instance, I say, yeah, I don't like taking my kid to public school. And she goes like, no, we're going to take him to public school. And I go like, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever. Because I don't want to argue that. Like, I don't want to have the conversation there. And so, like, from the perspective of the outside, it looks like I'm submissive. But when we get home, we actually have the proper talks. And I think, like, that's normal for most families. I don't think, like, this is something that I invented, right? Yeah, and you don't have these conversations in front of the kids either. It's not aren't high fertility, they are poor. Control income, they have the lowest rates among 3 Abrahamic religion. Jews is first, Christians are second. I didn't know that. I will tell you why birth rates are low, though. Like, it's really not that difficult, and I don't think, like, someone like Nick Fuentes is ever going to talk about it, but child labor laws. Horrible, right? Child labor laws. These are the ones that are the main reason why you have low fertility rates. What do I mean by this? I don't mean that children should go back into the mine. Heaven forbid. But when I was 16, I worked at a McDonald's. And I flipped burgers, and I was really happy. Today, if you tell this to a Zoomer, they freak the fuck out. It's like, oh my goodness, you were exploited. You were exploited like you're a child, a little boy. And you went to McDonald's, and you worked. Oh, Dios mío. If it was up to me, I would have done that when I was 14. I'm not even kidding. Like, at the age of 14, spinning burgers, I would have fucking done it. Do you know how amazing it was? Like, having your own cash, having your own income, learning what it's like to work in a business and having a team and having to cooperate with others and having, like, all of these experiences that I never got from school. And so, let's recap what child labor laws actually does in 2025. You're supposed to finish school, finish high school, go to university, and maybe when you're 25 you get a job, right? And so when people say, I can't pay for my kids, what they're really saying, I can't pay for a 24-year-old adult to have his own apartment, to pay his electricity bills, to pay his food, to pay everything, so that he can become a gender studies major. But now let's look at before child labor laws, which is pretty much like the time of your grandparents. You have a kid, he goes to work, he brings home money. Now sure, you don't take his money, but you know what? You don't have to give him pocket cash anymore. He's actually having a job. Maybe he can now move out. Maybe he can start a family. Maybe by the time he's 22, he also has a kid. And so you as the parent, when he's 22, you don't actually have to pay for everything he does. And when people say, oh, well, I can't afford to have kids. Yeah, because in your grandparents' generation, kids were actually making money. Like, you had a kid on a little bike and throwing newspapers. Like, that was a job, right? And now he was having pocket cash, meaning that the parents didn't have to give him pocket cash. It means that he was actually integrated in work. He actually understood what it's like to wake up at every single day and do a job that's rewarding. Because unlike school, you go to school, you don't make any cash. Do you find it odd that there are no sides talking about fixing the marriage system, removing the family court? There is no political incentive to remove the family court. Because the first thing you're going to hit is the whole thing of the children. And the second thing is like the government actually takes money from those courts. And then there's the women that don't want to fix it. And there's even men that don't want to fix it. Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of men that also don't think there's a problem with the family courts. They're called allies. And so, like, yeah, you know, this is an issue. I do think that instead of I mean, obviously, you know, you can't fix the family courts until enough men complain. Because that's another thing. Like, if men legitimately, unironically hated the family courts, the law would change. Because when, like, all of the men actually want something done, they do it. But the reality is very few men care. And usually men care when it happens to them. When it affects them. But if you look at, El Salvador. El Salvador, right, like, had enough men that were really ticked off about paternity tests. And they organized, and they pushed, and they managed to create a law that makes it mandatory for every single child to get a paternity test. And so if it's possible in El Salvador, it's possible elsewhere. But the thing is, like, do people want it? And I'm not talking about, like, us on the internet or some people that... No. Like, does society want? Like, if you stop a guy on the street right now, and he's a man, and you're like, would you like the laws to change? And probably most people would not give a shit about those laws. They would say, In America, well, look, another example. Men wanted the Me Too to stop. So there were a lot of men that were getting Me Too'd for no reason. Especially journalists, content creators, academics. And, you know, we found out that the Me Too's were for wrong reasons. And then when men wanted the Me Too to stop, it stopped. Like, it wasn't women that went, you know, we want third wave feminism to go away. No. Like, men genuinely said, how about this ideology goes fuck itself? And it did. Like, it went away overnight. So, again, like, if men legitimately wanted to change the marriage rates, they would. But, like, let's be honest, they don't. And there's many reasons on why they don't. It's because, like, some people actually benefit from them. Like, if you marry a woman that has, like, 3 baby daddies and she makes a big income, do you really want to change those marriage laws? Probably not. And again, you would need at least over 60% of men that want to change it. And so, like, as long as the percentage of men actually benefit from it, it's not going to be changed. It's not necessarily that they're weak. Like, they have self-interest. And I understand, like, there's also certain situations where the men actually manage to cheat the system by marrying and then divorcing, but then they still live with that person and they still collect the welfare checks. It depends on state to state and what the laws are. But, like, there are people that actually abuse the system, basically. I do agree that there is no excuse for no DNA test. I also understand what the lawmaker thought when they passed this. So in France, for instance, it's actually the opposite. It's illegal to have DNA tests in France. And the reason it's illegal is because French people are such cheaters. Like, the adultery rates in France is so high that the lawmakers consider that if they did have forced DNA tests, it would end up with riots. Like, it would completely destabilize the society. And so the problem there is that the lawmaker is thinking about the children. I mean, that's literally how they say it. And I had this conversation at medicine, and always when I hear it, I feel like puking. I understand where they're coming from, but I think they're retarded. So, there are a lot of situations in medicine where you find out that a parent has a disease and the other parent doesn't have the disease, and the only place they could have got it from is sexually. And so the doctors are like, oh, do we tell them or not? My opinion is, of course you tell him. Like, why wouldn't you, right? Or you notice that The baby has a blood type, the parents have a blood type, and it's almost impossible for that guy with that blood type to be the father, right? And then it's like, oh, do we tell them or not? And so, it's the same thing with the lawmaker. It's like, okay, well, do we want parents to know that it's not their kid? And their justification is like, let's think of the child. If the child raises itself without a father, the chances of delinquency is higher. If the child is a delinquent, then he's not a productive member of society. If he's not a productive member of society, he doesn't donate taxes. In fact, he commits crime. And if he commits crime, then he's a burden on the taxpayer, right? And so that's like the cold reason. They don't think about the longhouse or whatever. Like, they think about it from a pure pragmatic point of view. Do we want delinquents in society? So, like, they view women cheating as a force of nature. They can't stop it. It's going to happen. But, like, how far do we want to crack down on this? And in the case of France, they decided, like, no, it's actually better if the father doesn't know and it's not his kid. But at least the kid raises with the father and he doesn't become a delinquent. I think a French man would be smart enough to know that if he gets a DNA sooner rather than later, he can try for an actual child. You don't understand. It's illegal to get a DNA test in France unless you get it with a court order. I don't think you understand this. It's not like... See, in my country, for instance, if I want to get a DNA test, I can. It's probably going to cause friction with the spouse because she's going to be, oh, you don't trust me, what is it, blah, 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 blah. But, like, if you actually want to get it, you can get it. In France, it's illegal. You can't get it even if you do want to get it. I don't know about Russia, if they passed it or not. Actually, hold on, like, this is interesting. Let's check it out. So, why is it illegal in France to get a paternity test? What was the rationale? So, they didn't ban paternity tests because they hate science or enjoy chaos. The rationale was political, legal, and very French. Preserve family order first, the biological truth second. So the state sees family stability as a public good. See, exactly what I said. They saw this since Napoleon has built around preserving the legal family unit, not the biological one. The state historically feared that casual private paternity testing would blow up marriages, destabilize households, and create a wave of legal disputes. So their logic is, if every suspicious husband can quickly get a DNA test, you get a surge of challenges of legal paternity, and the family court system gets flooded, while the kid becomes collateral damage. The French legislator decided that the child's social and legal fatherhood should matter more than the biological certainty. Preventing coercive or secret testing. Men testing children without the mother's consent. I mean, this just makes me puke, absolutely. Right? Because if the mother wanted to get an abortion without the father's consent, would this be a problem? No. Grandparents or in-laws doing secret checks, hiding private lives to obtain samples without anyone knowing. The fear is that this turns into domestic espionage. Okay, so basically, like, if a father is going to live for 20 years with suspicion, is that better than just have him check? So fucking retarded. Protecting the child from truth bombs. And what it isn't about protecting women from being caught, banning science, denying DNA. Yeah, I do think in this situation that it's not about protecting women because it came from Napoleon. And during Napoleon times, they weren't hyper-feminist. And so, yeah, I definitely think that it's about preserving the family unit, at least in the legal way, I guess. Still, messed up. The husband has a mistress and the wife cheats on the neighbor. Yeah, to be fair though, like, the French society is filled with adultery. Like, the adultery rate is a lot higher than almost any other European country. I don't know why, but it is. So, the government, in their infinite wisdom, decided that it's actually better to not cause more problems. I still disagree with it. I mean, to be fair though, there's not like now that they're in the European Union, there's literally nothing stopping the father from traveling to Poland, getting a paternity test from there, and then using it. I'm actually curious, like, what would happen. So hold on. If a French dad goes to Poland, gets a paternity test, finds out kid isn't his, what's the legal solution for his conundrum? So this is the legal equivalent of a man discovering the fire exit only leads back into the same building. He can know the truth, but the French legal system will politely fold his arms and say that's nice, but it's irrelevant. The foreign DNA result has no legal value. A paternity test done abroad is treated as non-existent in French law. Courts cannot accept it as evidence. If he wants to challenge paternity, he must go to a French court, file a contestation de paternité, ask the court to order an official French authorized test, and if the judge agrees, the court orders a legally admissible DNA test, and if the mother refuses, the court will treat refusal as evidence against her and may rule the man is not the father. You have strict deadlines. If the father knowingly raises the child as his own, he usually has 5 years from the moment he discovers the possible non-paternity to file. If the child was born into marriage, the legal paternity is very robust but still challengeable. So in other words, if you acted as the father, you stay the father. If the court confirms he is not the father, he stops paying child support, his name can be removed from the birth certificate, the child's legal identity is reconfigured, and the biological father can be sought for legal paternity, mother permitting. And if the court rejects the challenge, he remains the legal father, keeps paying child support, and the foreign DNA test remains meaningless. Harsh, yes. Consistent with French family law philosophy, absolutely. Can he use the Polish result informally? Yes. The Polish result can push the judge to order an official test. Judges don't admit it as evidence, but they do take it into account as legitimate serious doubt. Judges are humans, they're not robots. If you walk in trembling with a folder from Krakow, they get the picture. Yeah, it's kind of nasty that you end up at the mercy of a judge, but it is what it is. The state has to pin the cost on the closet man. I heard that there are now cases where the fathers are actually joining, earning custody. Like, there is a backlash to feminism, especially after the Amber Heard case, where a lot of people are reevaluating if it's actually that good of an idea to allow the mom with the kids. I guess it's also like because of social media, because before, a lot of judges, women included, they had a lot of preconceived notions. But like when you have access to the internet and you do see on TikTok how women are like, I got like 5 baby daddies. You know, like, this is just good math. This is good math. You don't want to have like 5 kids with 1 baby daddy. That's not profitable. You want to have 5 different kids with 5 baby daddies. And so, yeah, like even judges are seeing that, and they're like, okay, well, in this case, how about we give the kids to the father? And so now it's, like, depending on the state, depending on the country, but in recent years, I heard that things are starting to change a little bit. There's no reason not to get the test if you're innocent. Well, again, El Salvador actually made that decision, and they're applying it. Like, look, if you can vaccinate a kid when he is young, and there's absolutely no reason to do the hepatitis vaccine, but like, they're doing it 24 hours after birth, right? A paternity test is probably cheaper than that vaccine. Like, I'm just saying, you know? And so, yeah, for those of you who don't know, I even argued about this at med school. Like, I'm not against all vaccines, but like, some of them just don't make sense to me. Hepatitis B. So this actually was discussed by JFK, and it was recently raised into public discussion. What is hepatitis B? It's a virus that affects the liver. And how do you get it? Well, there's two ways you can get it. Number one, from the mother, like if she has hepatitis B, the child gets it. And number two, through sex. Right? Well, there's also a third way through, like, let's say a syringe that's infected, or like you step on a needle or something like that. And so let's reevaluate, right? Like getting it from the mother if she's infected. The mother is actually tested before getting to the hospital. So like if she was to have hepatitis, then yeah, like then you would know. And in that situation, sure. But like if the mother doesn't, then what's the point? Secondly, sexual intercourse. It's a baby. It's like less than 24 hours old. No, like they're not going to get it like that. Third way, stepping on a needle. It can't even move. Let's be honest, okay? And so the only reason that this vaccine is done is so that someone can grift. Like some money can be taken. Now, I do understand like how public health was probably done. You know, like they like to assume that every mother is a crack addict whore. And so like if we go by that assumption that we vaccinate everyone, you know, like then we're not discriminating. But still. Yeah, blood transfusion. Okay, but even with blood transfusion, like the blood is screened. We live in the era of 2025. It's not like 1940. Like, we know how to screen blood for this. So, no, like, there's absolutely no reason. And so my point is, right, like, you have this vaccine that the medical doctor that I spoke with at the University of Medicine couldn't actually explain it to me, why it's being done. Like, again, I'm not saying it's not useful. Like, I'm not saying that if you take the vaccine, you get the hepatitis. No, like, I agree. You take the vaccine, you don't get the hepatitis. But, like, why give a vaccine to someone that's not going to be in any danger of getting hepatitis, right? But, like, if we're going to give it anyway, and it already costs money, like, why can't you also give a paternity test? I mean, the vaccine is not bad. It's just wasted cash. Is it bad? No, but like, how many vaccines do you give a baby? And like, at some point, is like giving a cocktail of vaccines potentially bad? Yes. I mean, there aren't studies done on this, but like, you know, when I grew up, the number of vaccines that a baby got, I think it was like 4 or 5. Now it's around 20, you know? Like, okay, what if we give 700? Like, is there a number where you could say, okay, this is a ceiling? Like, more than this is bad? Yeah. What about 7,000? What about 17,000? Like, this is what I'm saying. And it's so, like, if there is a vaccine that obviously doesn't have any benefit and any effect, why can't they take them when they're old? Like, why do they need to take them when they're young? To be fair, it probably made more sense at the time when it was introduced. Tech was not as advanced. Yeah, but, like, do we not stop and review things? Like, if we've done something for all eternity, do we keep on doing it? Like, surely sometimes you can just stop and make an audit, see what works and what doesn't, then make some changes before carrying it on. Yeah, full safety at 3,141. That is why I think Korea and Japan has the best vaccine schedule in the world. Not great, but not better. I mean, it's... everything that comes from the government is probably a grift. Like, someone somewhere is making some money on the side because the program existing, and if you cut the program, someone somewhere is getting fired. So that's pretty much the reason why. Anyway, chat. Thank you for watching this. I'm actually planning to stream Marvel Invaders with Amalgamite. Going to have to talk with her and see when she's available. I also plan to play a little bit of Half-Life 1. Black Mesa. I hear that Half-Life 3 may be coming out, and so going to prepare for that. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in my other videos. Take care.